order um, the council meeting today at the Eagle Senior Center, 9 o'clock. Roll call. Councilmember Belt here. Oh, here. 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 Yeah. There.
Um, Councilor McCorkle had a family commitment, and that's for.
Correspondence. Then there are public comments pertaining to council items with 3 minutes per person at next staff. Public comments are closed. This is number 1, goal setting discussion, introductions, purpose of the meeting.
Okay, I am acting as your facility. I am not the city manager at state. So my job is to just pull, get more discussion going and to kind of keep this on track. Restrooms are behind me. I just shut my ringer off on my phone, so we don't have any interruptions. It's been said that any road will get you where you want to go if you don't know where you're going. And I also pulled out a quote this morning from Kenichi Holding, a Japanese organizational theorist. It says, growing harder doesn't help, the road's headed in the wrong direction. So we don't want to grow.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. It is ever so important that the city as an organization have synchronicity between among you as the leaders and synchronicity with me and with the staff, to where everybody at every level of the organization knows what I call the Northtown training. And that is, there's all that is that if you're if you find yourself on a northbound train with a southbound ticket, it's okay. Hold the cord, stop the train. Everybody will hug each other, pat each other on the back, wish each other well, won't pack your luggage. And, but this train is going wherever the 7 people selected by this community to lead that. So it is important for everybody in our organization to understand the expectations, the direction, the goal of this. One other thing I'd like to do, and I think you were given, so on page 3, there's a chart that looks like this. And this is in 2015, what the council goals were. And the number 1 was ensure long-term fiscal stability. I remember this was a different time. We were, as Tom Darcy said, in one of the stories of closing and opening, houses were burning and being built. We had, they had adopted a budget in 2013 that was going to spend authorized spending $1 million more in revenue, which you can't do. But anyway, with the goal, the objectives then were to increase business and overall revenue, assuring that our city golf course status, develop a land procurement program, and maintain fiscal balance budget possible. The second goal the council adopted was to increase economic development, attract renewable energy, increase subsistence tourism, capitalize spike in Schultz history, facilitate the chain ability, develop the urban ability, encourage special events, established an inland port. And that's we had a concept where we knew that because of air quality concerns, LA just couldn't, and congestion concerns, LA could just not continue to have all these trucks with containers coming and driving through the ports. And as the ports grew, and continued to grow, that the trucks was going to continue to be a problem. So then we created more air quality. So we had the idea of building intermodal ports. Like a full set, crane or top kicker picks up the container off of the truck, puts it on a railing. And then, so the crane gets full and off it goes to the ports. So it gets those trucks on the road system. We conceptualized it, identified it generally. It would be south of town along the interstate. So, between 5 Mile Road north in there, there's a lot of vacant land that could be used for that. It was modeled after what they do in cities industry, city of commerce, and Vernon in the Great Rail Area. So we worked on it, conceptualized it. We went around and briefed Kingman, Havasu, Moorhead. We got the mayors together. Dr. Padgett got the mayors together, and we brought in PNSF and we presented it, talked about the economic projections that were created, and the BNSF individual said, "Where did you get this idea?" And this is where have you ever seen this work on?
That's why they went to Barstow.
Yeah, so they just spit all over it. And I just was so inflated, because it would create thousands of longshoremen wage scale jobs. But now BNSF is promoting it in Barstow. And I don't think that is going to solve the problem. But so maybe it was an idea that was ahead of its time, but it will catch up. So we ought to keep that on our minds going forward. And the objective was double the population. The third goal that the council adopted was to increase responsiveness at City Hall. And that was a primarily streamline the development process, reduce red tape. We need to adequately staff City Hall. That's not as much numerically as intellectually. To create capacity, intellectual capacity within City Hall to address the problems. We were coming off of a period in 2006 and 2008 where the revenues were declining rapidly. Senior folks left, and people were being put in positions they had no training. They had wasn't in the core companies. And that was a concern. And then it was also, council had an objective to recognize employees that as success happened, that we acknowledge their contribution to it. The fourth goal was to improve transportation, which was 6 out of 10. People's highway was not fine. Remember, at the time, we hadn't done any of the improvements on the side of it. To develop a streets capital improvement program, work with BNSF, find ways to capitalize on the airport. And there was an objective of creating a walking path, an exercise or a casual recreation opportunity to just enjoy the river and the environment. The last, or the next slide was to regional cooperation. That at the time, the council felt that we were acting independently, all these other agencies were acting independently, and there was no communication, or there was inadequate. So, and it was not only with the Pride, but it was with the other tri-state areas, Addison, Florida, Lawton, Mojave County. The next goal was to improve public safety, which whenever polling is done of the public about what is the most important thing in their community, that they want, and that is to be in safe. And then everything, then recreation comes third, or jobs, or what we do. And then the last goal was to make sure to provide dependable, high quality water, wastewater, and electric service. So when we did this in 2015, they also adopted a vision statement. And vision statements can be best understood if you ask yourself the question, what does the end state look like? Wouldn't it be nice if, and then fill in the blank. And their vision was a prosperous, safe, progressive, full service paradise in the desert, friendly, family-oriented community in which to live, work, and play along the Colorado River, where the historical past comes in. Now, that was a snapshot of those segments in their mind about it. Another way to look at vision is when you cast yourself forward 10, 20 years, what do you want to be? What do you want? And when you try and identify what your legacy might be as an active community member, what do you want to be known for? What do you want to say, well, I was part of it? And I go back to some of the communities I have worked in the past. I did this recently. I remember when that was 2 lane road down to 5 lanes. Now there are 7 Intel chip manufacturing plants. And so vision is what are your highest hopes and aspirations for the community? So the mission statement, again, it's important to remember that you are the elected representatives to the corporate board of directors for $31 million. So it's not just, we're a political entity, but we have a major corporate function. So the mission states to deliver cost-effective and efficient public services to meet obligations, satisfy the community's needs of public safety, planning, public works, parking, recreation. The next thing they did is they try to describe the manner in which we would work towards achieving this. And it's like when you go to your annual performance review, and I assigned you 7 things last year, you got 10 of them done. That's wonderful. That's happy. So the other half is get pissed off at everybody along the way. You broke the rules, you violated the law. It's so the style in which you achieve it isn't the importance of achievement itself, but it was honesty, communicate forthright with integrity, be dependable, fairness, work as a team. This isn't about individual contributions. Respect, that means treat everyone with dignity and fairness, each other and your fellow employees and colleagues, but also the public. And we need to strive for excellence and do it with a sense of stewardship, or that we are taking care of this physical environment where we're operating, to where something left after it, passed on. So that is what they did at that. In 2020, we started to, we went updated, got about 2/3 of the way through, and it was interrupted, and we never finished it. So that is what previous city council was about. At the end of the day, we need to put down what your vision, what your sense of mission, what your values are, because that will be communicated throughout the organization. Now, goals are important, not only that we identify where we're going, what we want to achieve, but goals drive budget. Goals drive personnel decisions. We get people that can do that. Goals are used in every function. So they are communicated with staff, people primarily department heads, but they people down. So, and in particular with city manager, it's important that he or she be measured against the goals and the objectives. Now, later on, all of these objectives, we need to have dates. So it's these, otherwise you would just flat. But we need to set dates, so they need to become measurable. So you could say, water fountain at Santa Fe Park by August. Or I maybe do example that, but something will happen. Well, no, I mean, yeah, but it, and again, it's a blank canvas. I mean, it's a blank canvas, but it's important that the more detailed you get, the more specific. And that includes adding. So,
We also have to be reasonable for this.
yes, yeah, I mean, it's,
We can be really optimistic, we'll think we're gonna get that accomplished by Wednesday.
yeah, well, or that we're gonna have Neiman Marcus,
Yeah.
But, yeah, but they need to be, and that's important, is don't set yourself up for failure. Because these will be public, they will be discussed, they will. Public is smart and they hold people accountable. So with that, what I want to try and do is let's talk about what your vision is. And this is one of those things that and I'm going to write these down here.
We've been buying, I mean, we don't need to reinvent.
Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely.
This vision, like.
Now, I'm going to write down anything anybody says, so I'm not going to add it.
The small town shop. And the recreation that, we, that's the. And, 66 tourism were, the 100th anniversary is in 2027.
You have young children. What do you want the community to be when they grow up?
I think we really need to put, my thoughts are on sustainability. We have these great, we always have these same thoughts, and let's make it a safe, progress, all these great things, but if we don't have anything that keeps people moving, makes it sustainable, then people with like our age with kids, they're not gonna stay. Because if we can't find jobs, if we can't find safe things for our kids, we're not gonna sell. That being said, I mean, we focus on our doing retirement community, so we don't need. Get my people together, moving in here, but we just look at our costs just to be, but you know, we have a variety of all ages coming in, and if you. Everybody has a part. From birth to. retirement.
I think if you keep the family, family oriented, community, you put the set right way on all of it.
Yeah.
And that really is all it's got.
Let me go back just for a second. Usually the term sustainability is being used today for environmental. You know, let's not deplete but you're talking about cultural,
Able to actually. People here,
right?
how do we bring people in, and how do we keep people stay?
So retention.
What is that, what is the need of every level that we have?
It's,
We need to have,
home construction,
medical, services, stores.
And I think that
Anything
it's not a thing, I wanna piggyback where you said on this vision statement, says full service, and I underline that. And I think that that's the thing, we need full service for everyone, and I think council is going to, I love that full service. Work, because that one. I think it's the dream, and it's why I have to be.
But I also heard you say, for those that have made the mistake or the opportunity to leave, reason to come back.
True, very much so. I mean, many of us are fifth generation millennials. We want to be here, we choose to be here. But sometimes it's very difficult to choose to be here. With the resources.
Right.
Strong Chamber of Commerce,
What's that?
strong Chamber of Commerce. Also with the residents, I go out and almost every day of the week and ask what the residents want. That's what I try to bring back to council. Not necessarily what we want, I mean, it isn't what we want, of course, but what our residents want. That's what like we said here. That's what we're working for. We're working for the people of this town. We're working on future people of this town. Get them more involved in it. A lot of people don't want to come to city council, but they're not speakers. They won't speak. That's why I go out and I talk to them individually. Bring back what their ideas. 90% of people, if not more, will not come up and speak. People won't do it. So I think we should go out and talk more to the people of the community. Not just select through everybody.
So open communication and interact. That helps everybody. All right, anybody else with comments on vision?
Work in one location, and I don't just mean like with the Richard Peterson learning, but I also mean like you talked about with the intermodal, the inland port, but like taking advantage of the fact that we are so close to all these other places, we really are, but it, even at the price they took, I mean, so whatever we can do to, you know. We already worked on that, but. Everybody. Don't think about the patients. I can dinner time.
I think you get anywhere from here. You know, the freeway, there's different roads, Highway 95 everywhere, right here. You can. Rooms. Yeah, like yearly vacation.
Private way, not with California, but
It's, you can get to the city from here, you can get to the California Dream Adventures from here, you get to Vegas from here, you can get to Phoenix from here, into the Grand Canyon from here, and you can get to the casinos from here. You can get into the original location and do all these things.
the problem I have, if anybody wants to do business there, if build anything, get permits, do anything, I'm not gonna deal with Eagles. Eagles is a pain in the butt to deal with. With the permit process, the bureaucracy, they have to go through, the prices of the permits. Everything all the way down the line. There's contractors that say, I'll build there, but I'm not gonna get a permit, I'm gonna need a permit. Make it a little bit easier for people that come in and want to do business there.
But is it Needles or is it California?
California.
Yeah.
California.
So, I mean,
So that's where it comes in to work with our state representatives to get an exemption for needles. So we could run under the Arizona laws, the Nevada laws. And we can have contractors come in here. And just, work it well.
I don't know if that's part of the vision statement or is that part of our rules?
I'm gonna, I put it here, but we'll, you can.
We had this conversation last week on the side. There's things in California, in order to build, you have A, B, C, and D. We can do nothing about A or B or C, our hands are tied. But D, we have to move, like we can, don't waive some of that money that they say on building. I mean, there are things we can do in the future, and without any more goal, but that, we had that very conversation, that it's California. We cannot change that we can ask, and we did when you went and talked up here with, Stevie Hunt in Sacramento, we talked to the senator and representative about, is there anything we can do to help, not just Beatles, but all cities on the border, or Raleigh, you know, like Raleigh, they're the same boat we're in right now.
And it's probably,
Yeah.
Lake California.
We are all on the border, and people do not want to come across that border, California and all of the California breed. And it's really sad, you know, our towns get a really bad rap, and we're practically not going to California, that's not gonna work, we don't want to do that. You can't do that, but it's just really tough, because they don't want, it's true, like, I'm thinking maybe our nursing should be across the river, right across the river.
And past council's efforts to de-annex.
Well, yeah, that's true.
You see where that.
Well, you know, the thing about that, the thing that people don't understand is that if we were to try, like people want to, they want to take San Bernardino County.
Yeah.
Okay, where's your money coming from? Where are you gonna get any of this money? What about people on aid? What about their water rights? I mean, there's all kinds of things that come along with being part of California, and if you were to actually extract yourself out, you lose everything and have to come up with your own ways and means to get that crap. That's like arguing us, and we're gonna do something like that. I mean, what's the way to get to? Well, the seceding is never gonna chance.
Okay.
Fight that mentality thing.
Let's, but is there anything in the previous vision statement that you object to? And I will look to restructuring this vision statement, to incorporate some of the comments here. And then if not, then we can, take a look while you're at it at what the mission statement is.
I don't think we should, I'm seeing where paradise is living. It's a nice concept in your mind, but I don't think that we're trying to promote ourselves like empowerment. Necessarily.
All right.
I don't know what word I'm trying to think of. I would also put community in there, but they have family and, oriented, before it's together from paradise. But a full service community or our full service, I don't know if that's what I want to say, but not.
But we're a full service paradise.
Yeah, we don't want to promote full service because we don't have it. We want to have a goal to achieve it, but I don't know that we want to have it.
Well, that's what our vision is. That's what our vision is, so.
And they say this is what we are, and maybe what we want.
Okay, our vision is.
I really like
but I don't worry about the other two, right?
Okay.
I
And
think that's probably a better term to say it full service. I thought you're gassing with my car and
Oh, that's,
actually my windows for me.
that's,
So maybe like a better
yeah,
okay,
description.
I'll try and,
yeah. You're right, it's because.
I'll find.
Or maybe put it cheap, but full service, but cheap.
Well, we're not a full service city because we don't have our own, full service cities that in my world is police, fire.
Grocery store.
But yeah, but at the same time, we have four. I mean, we own a golf course. We own a cemetery. Most cities don't. At one time, we owned the hospital. Ooh, very few cities.
The one thing too is we do have all these great things, but we don't promote ourselves enough. So instead of saying we don't have, like,
Yeah.
everything we have, and how do we build on this, and how do we educate the world about what we do have? Instead of being,
Therein lies the challenge now.
it's not, I mean, that frustrates me, like, tell me what the problem, you feel the problem is, but bring me that solution also with it, because if we wanna sit here and complain all day long about what we don't have, and it's not gonna do it, we're never gonna do it. So instead, we focus on what we do have, how do we fix the things that we can fix? Instead of just saying, somebody, I want to go to Gavin and say, you A, B, and C, or else. That's what, I mean, there's no or else, it's what we can do. So just being.
Okay, value statements, anybody want to add or detract from the what I'll call personality characteristics?
Possibly, yes.
Oh,
Yes.
bringing out seventh grade English.
You know, when I see them, it just totally detracts from anything I do.
All right, so with this, and then it'll be rewritten by the vision that you all have, the mission and how we're gonna get it done. What are your goals that you want to achieve in the next, think, 2 year and 5 year? So, these were the goals that 2015 city council had. What are your goals? What do you think are the most important things for the city to achieve? Right,
Mine is, that River Road, alternate road, all that discussion we had from the 75 barn and we know that Jack Smith is the number one location, for road access on the river to, develop the better road like that. And also the citizens that live there. We had a discussion, doing, fixing the road to thereby help those by, but definitely River Road, and then we're also approaching, I just commented the 100th anniversary of Route 66, which is a really big one. I've already had California contact me, the European Council. I feel we should at least try to make it a goal to have that drive-through sign at the train park or at the east end of town, like Kingman and I, on all the Route 66, and pretty much all the towns along Route 66 have that in their cities. And then I'd like to do more advertising of Route 66, like stencils at the 100th anniversary to our stencils industry. The banner on all the city vehicles, banners down Broadway and Front Street. And then do some type of a metal sign on that giant bear we're getting, and then planning events with that. But that would correlate back to the general plan, the downtown place, the diagonal parking, the better signage, and encourage the businesses to update, fresh paint their buildings, especially those of us that are located on Route 66. And then we have to, maintain the attitude that we have to be pro-business. And like Bracken said, we have to be Texas, we have to try to work with everybody coming in. And I spoke with a couple of different contractors. And And they were very, positive about the city staff, changes that have been affected. And also, I think that has been, really, good to attract contractors and stuff. They also commented our, permit to build a home, including the $7,500 school district charges, and I don't believe that will go away. They need, funds to review, is maybe a break from permitting for 1 to 2 years, just to get a couple of things jump started here. Using maybe some of the canvas money like we did to help, derive, offset the permits. The big comment was the permit. The problems with the city staff, I think, has gone away. You guys have done a good job with that, but it goes back to, we need development within homes. And I talked to Dr. Cameron, and they need families too. I mean, like Thomas said, are we going to identify ourselves as strictly a retirement community? Or are we going to try to be a multi-purpose? We want everything. And we have to, address the needs for those.
The community that we found, the economic development fund, offsets the permits.
Yeah.
For all businesses, and even for,
All
Well, and-
non-cannabis buildings, businesses.
Right, and that's what they said they want to take.
Oh,
They would say help with that. But they were very positive about working in the city.
Well, that, my experience is that comes and goes. And, it is, that there's always there's a built-in conflict between somebody wanting to do something and then what the rules require to be done. And the key is how you manage that conflict. And we had a bad experience, and we made changes, and now we have people that are more attuned to the council's goal. They want the permits signed. Okay. What are the other?
When you stay focused on, I love the Route 66, but not everybody appreciates it. So I think you need to put, when we focus on Route 66, we add in what else would be for those other generations that don't necessarily understand it. So we have to bring in, okay, so we do all these great things for, and those that are really into it, and those that just appreciate it, because that's our culture and history. Then what are those about inviting some other things? So that's when you get to vendors. You get the fun, the food, you have food tasting, other things that bring people here, even when they don't understand Route 66, that it's the event when they come for. And then they educate and provide all the things.
Well, and that's last I mentioned, to plan events with that.
With not just the one event, like here, this is only for Route 66ers, this is for all.
Right.
Again, so every time we have anything, again, from birth to retirement, we have events that cover all aspects of that. So I can go down there with my kids and it not be just a lecture on each day. It's also, there's food and there's carnival rides, things of that sort, that entertain my kids.
Well, we used to have a farmer's market in, Saturday Park.
I know.
That was great. That was great. That was awesome.
I don't know, I have such conflict about it, that's why I suffer.
I've had a lot of comments.
You know why it stopped? I stopped. Used to. That is such a conflict.
Yeah, we had a citizen activist who, went there and took down the names of everybody who, in his opinion, didn't have a food handler's permit.
Well,
And
and the county could understand why produce people from Arizona to California, we couldn't cross that kind of stuff. They didn't understand, we didn't have a grocery store. I think they knew it, but they didn't understand the business came from Arizona. It just turned it into just a bit of
But then we can continue to say that, we can continue to focus on the negative, or in the past, or we can continue to
I think we need,
we do the people.
just need to jump a little higher to get over the barrier.
what do we need to do to get the county on our side? What do we need to do to get the vendors over here? Like, well, people are gonna complain, but people are also gonna compliment. It's gonna be, it's a double-edged sword on anything we do. But we're still going to do it. I mean, it's just,
Anything but better, you go in county today than, when that was going on. I mean, we're on their radar. We are on their radar, and I think we might get more cooperation from them.
especially understanding our situation and that we are a big budget. I mean, that's a huge deal. When you're designing to get that, you don't want to allow us to have precedent and those just clear balance. I mean, that's a, we want our, what senator or any of our representatives want to say, oh yeah, we don't want to let this stuff. We don't have them. So, I mean, that's a huge deal, not being able to do it.
We don't have them to county with us.
I remember we used to have a car show here too, but that's Saturday Park, it's a great place for all that.
Well, just one observation is we have never, or like in 10 years, we've never had the attention of the county supervisor like we have now. And Don Rao is very interested in these. And I think we have two new representatives, our congressman and our assembly member, that want to make a presence here. I mean, they've sent their staff out already, and Assembly Member Garcia's coming either the last week of September, last Saturday of September or October on a tour. So there's opportunities to indoctrinate. And when we submit grants, we copy that, those Assembly members. We copy.
I know we did have a lot
Yeah.
of turnout on this, but, is the time that we say, hey,
Yes.
watch it here every month or quarter, whatever it is. And then each one of us makes a commitment to be, I go on this day, you go on that day, and we bring whoever it is with you to talk with them, because like, I mean, nobody wants to come out and have zero of information. So we are, so each one of us therefore said, okay, this week, I don't know, let's, whoever, one of us picks it that we're gonna go, we go whoever.
Each of those elected officials have a field representative that's assigned to this area. And those were the two, Kimberly and, they
Larissa.
were here. But, and when, with Overnolte, he had a staff person who was out here every month and with office hours. So we let them use one of ours. Yeah, yeah. Okay, well, I made a note of that.
Well, Grace Satchel, I spoke with her a couple weeks ago. They were looking to do it again. So I suggested she do a fall festival with crowds and the bouncy house and, rent a park and then maybe, depending on the weather, like mid-October, if the weather's bad, put some vendors inside on the west end there. So she is the Tri-State community. I'm great at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and their Easter egg things as well as successful.
Uh-huh.
No.
I have a gun show up in my.
Well, you, different events attract different groups, nothing.
Just follow.
I want to have a renaissance
That would be great.
on video.
That'd be great.
There's lots of good things we can do.
Yeah, that's good.
But that makes me think of your earlier comment. What do young adults, what's the event that would draw young adults and late teenagers in that 18 to 26 range?
The marijuana convention.
Coffee.
That probably, it brings a lot of people.
They have a course fest in Bullhead City, something like that. Bullhead City has a course fest every year.
But, going back to that weed thing, I mean, we have, that is actually, we have a lot of room to go on that. If we had the tours, or we would take it over to the bus and trolley, and the tour would have how we're gonna line roads. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so cute. I mean, I love wine tasting, so I guarantee you there's those that wanna go out and do the weed side. I mean, that's really good. I have one in mind, they're not, I have one in every year, it's huge.
Yeah, that tends to be trade show, but they're at the Orange County or the Orange Show in San Bernardino, which is their county fairground or something. They have a huge event there that is more kind of a community cultural.
Takeovers, they said that they want this, that their vision for this is to be like Kentucky with,
Yeah.
the burger. I don't know. But they,
Yeah.
okay, but I obviously didn't. No. They knew that they wanted to be, that's their mission, or like, wine country. And I mean, I think since we already have it here, we need to kind of, we have to do a thing of something. But I like what Tona said earlier, and I agree with it. We have so many great things and people don't know about it. Like for years before I got more involved in the community, I lived here for a long time and didn't realize all the things we have. I didn't have a kid. A lot of that goes along with, being involved more. And it's just, there's a lot. I didn't realize how great the golf course was, or, quite how awesome Jackson's Park was. You just go home and you work. And the more we can get out there to everybody, about how get better PR, exactly what.
Yeah.
Confidence in the one.
Yes.
Right, we can.
The week that would be good to do on April.
Movies at the park.
Yeah.
I'm pretty bad.
Well, it's not THC, what do they give away pot on April one?
We have also-
Still, there's lines of the rules.
Yeah, you can't give it.
Yeah, you
away.
So they sell it.
They can't let you sample.
And that's what the thing is, it's probably, and you can tour, because you can't have it out in the street, I mean, there's so many rules, but you can.
Yeah, we can do that.
Government, there's ways to make it.
Yeah.
So all of these ideas, your cannabis show, the Renaissance Festival, everything, might that be under a big general goal, like attract, or,
Right.
no, attract festivals and events,
Exactly what I was thinking, because I'm gonna take these
and then
and,
those are
because these are really objectives that I'll create a goal that then these are a
so maybe
same.
like add one new festival event per year.
Right.
I'll ask all the kids that we got dogs and we're gonna.
Also, it'll be like phones, I mean, getting on with this, I mean, it's all about your phone, so you have, I don't know, Pokemon events, where you go come out
Oh, yeah.
and find Pokemons throughout Santa Fe Park, that's a big deal,
All right.
I'm getting.
That's still, yeah, they walk up, that's,
Whatever. I mean, whatever it is, I don't know, game night or something, we really, this becomes fun. In St. Paul, every year they have a winter carnival, and they hide on the medallion. And every week in the newspaper, somehow they do hint. Clue this word, and then the one that finds the medallion gets $1,000 prize. And people just dig it to you, it's all in person. And so that could be used in conjunction with some sort of, maybe the Route 66 festival or something, but every year. And you're gonna have people from Walden coming down here looking for that dance.
I like that.
Yeah, my son and his two kids, they're always looking for Pokemon characters everywhere we go.
And then Spike birthday, August 12th.
Spike.
That was successful last year. Well, last year was the first year, we stopped Spike, so we're gonna do it again.
I still want to focus on manufacturing, we gotta get more jobs here, we gotta get outside of our marijuana and start bringing in something else. Something else that we, and what is unique to us, because we have our power. And I've been saying that for 6 years, and it's that. Well, it's simple, we have industry, jobs, houses, and then they all under the board kind of, yeah.
Well, and the marketing plan the council adopted has tourism, retail, manufacturing, and housing.
Gotta get people a reason to come. Well, all these events would be great for people to come to and see what people are talking about.
Things that we do in the Zoom and Empire. I've gone to meet up, but actually now, where people don't put these together, that's all I go on all these places. Meet up, but there's like 120 bucks to do that.
Which game is it from?
Meetups. It's called Meetup, Meet Out.
Okay.
And if I went to Rock County, or if I wanted to do painting, start a meetup where people do things. So like, let's go to Grapevine Canyon this weekend, put it out there on Meetup and do things. But we would do movies to do the down in the park, there would be a movie night down in the park where they set up something and people from around the community came and watch that movie. They took down, like Michigan, right down, right down.
Summer, you can have it all.
Yeah.
Well, in August, too, the Mojave Eastern, out there at Boss, they're having a star night. So I'm gonna go out there and look for Miss Jet and learn, how I can put them
I mean, I like that. Yeah, you do a lot of things. I think speaking for myself, I need to step up my game sometime and be a little more proactive on it. So I mean, each one of us speaks on some of this. I mean, not that I'm saying I can go to every single meeting, but more than that. Probably.
We're not utilizing what we have.
Well, and then we're gonna do, Veterans Day, military moms, the city of course, and, the Fort Mojave Drive. We're having pancake breakfast, and we've got, businesses and individuals already committed to doing it. So we want to do it at the park. We already been to the park with the Algars because the weather is fine, and we're going to do it actually November 11th. And I contacted Supervisor Rao to see if we could get the dignitary out here, post them to speak and stuff. And then we want to do like a walkway with all of the branches and our current veterans, a bio about them and a photo so people, can walk around and see, and then we can use it. I'll see if Penny will let us put it in the bank and stuff, so we can just honor the veterans.
An untapped resource is the Fort Irwin. There's a commander up there at that base. There's a military establishment over in Barstow. There's a commander there.
I thought they did that Supervisor Rao, her affiliation was $29.
20, yeah. That those people are the colonel or whoever's in charge. Those guys are always on call to go out and do those. And there's so many kids in this community, part of the culture is they go into, many of them go into the military, is that, they may look at it as recruiting program. But those, we need to get a hold of those commanders and
I
get on.
suggested Supervisor Rao,
Well, and Rao was a military, she lost her husband. Iraqi. All right, what's that? Oh,
I was looking at details. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the rodeo grounds too, it's utilized once a year?
Yeah, it was used, once a year, but then since then, there's been a party who has done barrel racing. Not as a spectator sport, but more as a competition.
So,
But yeah, so
we need to utilize that one.
that's
Let's utilize that a lot more, like the elephant thing that Brent says there. Any other events that could practically put music on. I wrote it, that's like a fairgrounds for like Caveman, fairgrounds, that's there. All the time. We could have events or vendors or they put in the rest spaces and they. You always have a little more, I know we can't do it, so.
it's a kind of a band show. they're the big deal for it.
This little piece is pretty nice.
Cornhole.
That was very successful.
Oh, no, it's really fun. I got beat by 2 high school kids.
Pickleball.
So, and another draw that will capitalize that come here are the softball and baseball. They just bring hundreds of children. You know, maybe the same time they have that going on, we should try to do an event along with it, so you've already got the track and here. You know, maybe bring in some food trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, Bullhead has been very successful in that, what in the art of it is called athletic tourism.
Yeah. You know, they bring so much more that you don't realize, that's why there's like 17 subways and stuff like that. Exaggerated, but you know, like, because, you know, all the kids are going home and you need to, you know, get them food, and things that, stuff like that will bring. If you don't think about what that.
And how do food trucks, I don't know what else to do.
Well, no, we ran into some problems. So what we did was, there's no permit from the city. We got rid of that. All they need is, we'd give them the list of the rules. And so it's, as long as you comply with Michigan, I have any problems. And the one is that they have a food, at least one person has a food and English permit from San Diego County. And you can get that for $29 online. Oh, okay.
There's no way, in the class you can teach everywhere.
I like that you guys do that, because that's a big part of, like, I feel like what we need to do is because people, if you, as the easier you make it, and like, when you give people to say this is what you need, that's awesome, and I think that's.
Well, and let me,
I think that little free standard. I don't know if they think on. My name was but I love that. I love it.
and Tana and Ellen and I had a conversation about this last week. The regulations that exist, either of the state or of us, require tasks to be done. So, you want to build a house, you got to submit plans, we have to review them, we issue a permit, we have to go to inspections. And then that means time of individuals to do those tasks. And then that equals the fee. If the objection is here, then we need to go back and look about what is essential. Of the regulations we have, what can we get rid of? We need to work the other side of the equation, as I call it. And that is, we identified that zoning permits for one-day special events, unless there was a street closure, that we no longer require permits for one-day events. So if your Renaissance Fair is gonna be a one-day event, you don't need a permit. So we got rid of them. So we went back here and looked at the other side of the equation because we couldn't identify a public purpose for that regulation. Now it's there, and we're going to clean up a lot of that in the rewrite of the zoning code. But we need to look at, because right now, the council policy is on development related stuff that we're to recover 100% fee because they should pay their own way. But you can't just focus on the fee. We need to go back and look at what tasks, and administratively, we're going to look at, can we automate some of these tasks? But we need to look at the regulations that require certain things. Now, again, as I said, part of them are state and part of them are the city. And you have control. You have there's a lot of this that are under your control. And as a home rule city, we can't violate state law, but we can prescribe how this functions. And Patrick was telling me that because we're interviewing development director, we're fortunate, we've got 2 candidates that get we need to make it as easy as possible. When you issue permits, that means jobs, that means tax revenue, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. And I gotta tell you, it's nice to have those 2 choices.
While we're talking on that part of it, I still feel we should be hiring anybody that applies, if they're qualified within our town. Those that live here under Schenectady. Bringing in people that are not from this area. I mean, they don't understand.
Then I wouldn't be here, Patrick wouldn't be here.
Which is not I'm not saying that that is the wrong answer. I'm saying it's just the answer, just like thinking about too, to make sure this person's qualified and able to, and understand what Needles is about and the generational. They're gonna 100% be committed. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. So get good people from the outside. But at the same time, we can also pay attention to those that are in the area that have a credential.
Well,
Like Brady,
and we do,
Brady's around here.
right,
Brady's awesome.
And it's been a great asset to
Yeah,
our.
absolutely.
and we do. And anybody who, I could say this, only for the 10 years I've been here, is if we get applicants, and it's a choice, I mean, that meet the minimum requirements, I always speak. I mean, all things being equal, because candidly, I want to keep, I want the jobs local, and right now, it's, somebody told me the other day, there's not one multiple listing service listing for Needles houses for sale. Well, see that, and we're plugging away at that, but, yeah, so what I've done is, and it goes back to something earlier we talked about was the, improving the capacity of city staff is, we look for qualified people. And then if there's a even close to a tie, it goes to Needles person, or Needles connection, former Needles, or, well, Patrick, his mother. That weighed in my mind in that. But yeah, we need to.
Because there are people, like, I'll use my hometown as an example where I've come through life. I feel like I care more about Needles than I do to town I grew up. It's just, it's also choosing to get out of your town and not just the fact that your parents. But I do agree, like, you should definitely favor somebody who's from there, because then you have probably someone who's gonna stay, and that's, I agree with that completely, but you also, I mean, I would also say, yeah, favor the Needles person, but you do gotta look at all the sides.
Right, but as a manager, they're also creating some downside to it.
Exactly.
But how do you get rid of somebody who doesn't perform?
Fire them. Right.
Well, I.
Sometimes.
Right, yeah.
Don't remember Huntington Beach.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, are you picking on
Don't
me?
remember Huntington Beach, so never mind.
Well, but it is there. You need to make sure there are people that want to be, and, all I can say is my personal story. I want to be, and this is now my hometown. This is as hometown as Sheridan, Oregon is. Was, yeah. Yeah.
I don't have that one,
I funding choices.
it's a small town that has a
Too.
I want the place to raise my children. I think that's
Okay, we've been doing this for an hour. Let's take, 10 minutes break.
All right, I'm gonna stop the video, pause.
I could
is go through, a SWOT assessment, and that is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So give me what you think are the strengths of the community and the organization.
One of the strengths of our community is the loyalty. Citizens are just loyal. They like to,
Okay, but one of the things that we, that somebody said it earlier, that we need to not have expectations which are just unrealized. I mean, we're a small town, 5,200 people. We have a geographic disadvantage. We're disconnected from, we don't have a neighboring city that's within the state. So that is but 56% of the people in this community are on some form of government assistance. Now, I'm not sure whether that counts Joyce's social security check or not, but our median household income is 42,000. The county's median household income is 97,000.
Maybe some.
Yes, it's been going up. It was, well, it's.
Yeah.
Which means that moderate income is defined as a family four under 104,000. So, and as late as the 1980s, the city had 85 employees, we have 60. So and the state is classified as a disadvantaged community now. The benefit of that is these grants that Rainey's been successful in getting, we haven't had to include a match because we're disadvantaged community. So there's limitations built in, but we're punching above our weight. It's a boxing. We are, I mean, like Rainey's work on grants, we had 30 million in the last year, we were awarded 30 million. We haven't been awarded 30 million in 30 years combined.
we are so lucky.
I don't know, but part of it is, and I'll use one of Thomas' terms is we outreach aggressively and promoted ourselves as need. And you have to have some courage to raise your hand so that you help. But because some of our problems are bigger than what resources are available.
I know.
So but I'll throw one in here, and that is I've never seen a community more generous. That God forbid something bad befalls you or your family, this community rallies. And last night we went to fundraiser for the girls softball team, and I'm gonna guess 30, 40 people showed up for a dinner that the girls softball, but that's something that's very impressive about this community and being in a small town.
When I tell people outside of our community, I'm trying to explain my community, I'm like a cycle. We have one mother heart underground somewhere. None of us knows where it is, but that heart beats somewhere in our town and beats to every one of us. And when one of us leaves, all of us, we come to each other. People come, we don't have to ask. Someone needs help. We lift each other up. We hold each other up. We put band-aids on each other. We have joy with each other. I mean, I don't know what the word, camaraderie doesn't even come close to this expression of what it's like to be generosity to become spoke, but that's not even rock. I can't think of the word. We just try that. But that's the way I describe it.
I understand the feeling. When I came here to stay permanently, I moved into one of my rentals temporarily. Talked about like 5 another house. And that was 7, 8 years ago. When I got to know my neighbors and other people in this town, it's like, wow, I'm staying. I'm staying, you know, the California thing kind of threw me off a little bit, California, but I said, no, I'm staying. I'm staying. It's a great little community that needs to be. Needs to be kept this way, but grow. People that want to come in. You know, we need to put our arms around them and bring them in. Bring people in instead of be more user friendly. That's the thing, I don't see a lot of user friendly people here, with outsiders coming in. These outsiders can come in too. How else are we gonna get rid of people from somewhere else? I like our small community, absolutely. I'm part of it. I'm in plant, like you are, Rick, Dale and Patrick. You know, we're outsiders coming in, Joanne. We're outsiders coming in, but, you know, this is our community. Ours, so,
I was asked when you went back to Beal High School, and said, oh, it's a very long time ago. That's all I said.
I say, well, I'm 29, let's see what we have.
Okay, does anybody else want to add to the strengths?
Some family oriented.
We're super children.
Okay,
Long history.
history.
Also-
Culture.
And also the location, even though we're not, that's a straight animal. So, and this location should go slash, you know, the freeway. Yeah, the access of the freeway and Highway 95, yes. And every hour, 66.
You know, Bill, I want to touch upon the comment that you made a while back that you, this application. Anybody can get anywhere from here, but anybody can get through here from, and which is, yeah.
It takes just long to drive to the hills, that's 25 minutes. And we have casinos, but we also have the rivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're not.
We are a community to get to.
Well, the elderly Mr. Diatley, because early on, I met with him, because he was one of the large businesses. And I said, well, why are you here other than history? He said, Rick, I'm here and we will always be here because I can get everywhere from here. It's 45 to Havasu, it's 30 to Laughlin and Bullhead and all. Yeah, and it's centrally located from my perspective.
One more, name record.
Yeah.
I traveled, before I moved here, I had heard of Beals as a child, so I was big into traveling around. And then additionally, as I travel around, everyone knows Beals. Everyone has, a lot of people have, probably 95% of the people I talk to have a story about Beals. It's like, oh, I broke out. Oh, I wagon. I mean, it's shocking. We are all over, people know Needles. And you don't think about that as such a small town, or even just really from here, but like I'm from Chicago, and all my in-laws friends are like, oh, it's the hottest place in the country. Because usually the Chicago Tribune has it, the hottest place in the country. You just don't think about that, but the name recognition of this town is incredible.
Well, Needles is a place.
Yeah.
And as opposed to, Fort Mojave, that's amorphous.
Yeah.
But Needles is a place, and it goes back to the family oriented. There's a cultural history. And, I looked up Laughlin one time because we outperform Laughlin in every imaginable sport or activity. And I said, so I looked at the population, they're like essentially 8,000 people. And I'm going, how is a smaller town feeding these people at football, basketball, baseball, speech, you name it? And the conclusion I came to is the history that kids performing know that their aunt or uncle or granddad or dad or mom was on that same field of competition. And they're in the stands watching. So it's impressive. And the other thing I continue to be impressed with is the quality of the kids that are coming out. And I'm always blown away at the $3 million scholarships or whatever that they get every year, because of the efforts of them and Kimberly Borough. That, you know, these are the leaders of tomorrow that are being born and raised.
That was impactful sports movie. And I just noticed that. You think that never good. But no, her peers still think we're playing in safer environments, like wonderful.
Well, once I found out that during the pandemic, well, every headline across the country was test scores were dropping. In Needles, during both years, every class improved their test scores. That is such an anomaly. Oh, yeah, I signed a reference letter for Paige Murch, who's getting her master's in public administration. But anyways, let's do the other side of that coin, weakness.
And that comes at the night. But does come.
High gas.
Place for the right.
What high gas prices? I'm gonna take the liberty to put down, what's that? Oh, no housing. Location.
One story.
Limited medical service.
Good job.
That it comes at midnight.
That would be nice in the daytime. Maybe a better destination for people to come out.
Like a new midnight would be great. Not gonna happen.
That look. Yeah. And I'm like, this is really cool.
And you were-
I mean, so like, I think we can, but I think he's right.
Well, the good news is Joyce took it at midnight, fell asleep, woke up, Union Station, 8 o'clock in the morning. So she got a full day of shopping. Oh, okay.
We don't have either.
Can I?
And we don't have assisted living.
That, yeah. Good.
From one end of the spectrum. Yeah.
Child care.
Decrease in, fast food restaurants.
Decrease?
Yeah, we don't have to, we're not getting any more fast food restaurants. And the pharmacy too, the needle point. Friday's the only one, because another pharmacy would be nice at one point.
Okay, so we are in this small town. What are threats to achieving our vision?
Ability. Longer term days, something that will come. It will feel very long to plan.
Finally.
I'll get on that.
I would put that as the opportunity too, because I would love to see, if we have our new coverage to the highest, we need to maximize on that and have some events out there.
I was just thinking,
You know, run to the point, something where you can bring people out here because it's the hottest temperature for extreme sports. Why do we not have, you know, the Mount Everest people are trying to, I mean, it's so overpacked with people nowadays. So many people want to risk their life to do it.
Well, you can also just.
Why are we not having that?
I
Flying to the
went to the chamber years ago, this was like 20 years ago, we used to see needles is red hot. And whenever I set up my needles table, I always have, if I have a sign here, needles is red hot with red hot. I mean, I get the biggest fun out of that. It's pretty cool.
Okay, threats. So these are things that other people would be doing or not doing. That, and one that we need to be aware of is the whole federalization on counts. I mean, I don't know.
back to a 5-year thing, huh? Which states can decide that they want to collect taxes.
Or if we're not good, or it's also the whole, time.
Okay, any other threats? Okay. Opportunities, you had one?
Utilize on our extreme heat. Yeah.
Okay. I'm totally swallowed this every year. They have the bad water race in Death Valley, and they run from Death Valley to Mount,
Yeah, no, they're-
yeah.
no, it's not there.
Anyway,
Wait,
yeah, so, something like that, like even on a small scale, like 5K or something. I mean, it sounds awful, and there are definitely things that go along with it, just something kind of fun.
And then, attracting, small retail, restaurants.
really have our, the conference room. Bringing conference people to come for a day, and then we provide for their activities, kayaking on the beach. So we get people out of New York, out of Washington, out of these huge giant cities, come out for a conference, but then for one day, and they provide out their activities that they wouldn't be able to do during their.
We had a lady that runs a tourism, I think it was out in Minnesota, she contacted us last week, and we signed up, she's gonna bring a tour, next spring, and she does out of the ordinary places. So she wants to come out here and do the golf and Oatman, so we're trying to tag with those other two, so we create a day-long tour, so that we're looking forward to working with them.
Okay.
I like to have the hard walk here. I want to have the underpass, like California Street, on the park, murals all down the whole thing. When I go to Cowboy Poetry Gathering every January in Elko, has beautiful murals all in their stone, and people, they have a community center, like a cultural center on the timber. And they take people on tours, and they go from mural to mural to mural, and talk about the murals and what they are seeing. And then you spoke about the electric boxes, that we wanted to do that. That's what people think, that they were interested in, but if we can put it out there and make it official, then we'll get more interested in things like booking people. And, electric boxes, we want. And can we get a monitor like they were?
Yeah. A baker.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love it. Yeah.
It's because they didn't say it was under 20.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Well, I mean, there's nothing money can fix.
Brady, we want a monitor.
We just said, and Eagles are hot.
Okay, the drive-through is.
Like hot girls and hot guys, and the Eagles is hot. I like them. It's on the different.
Part of the fact that, doing something in the heat of it.
Yeah, there's a community up in Oregon that has what's called a pole pedal path. And I forget what the pole is about, but they basically do 20-mile bike ride, swim the river, the Deschutes River. And I forget what the paddle is, but, you know,
Kayaking.
could be.
You can go color one.
There's pressure.
We've already talked about it, but you want to add housing onto there? Housing,
That's-
opportunities for housing and
Something opposite of that.
These are, use of our cheap power.
Oh, yeah.
$600 a month.
A lot of land.
Yeah, there's land, I've got up there. Okay, so let's wrap this up with and everybody individually, what are the two most significant things you want to accomplish in the next 2 years?
Personally, or as a city?
As a city, I mean, yeah, mine would be, you know, lose 30 pounds.
Lose 30 pounds.
I resemble everyone.
Finish the streets. I want a California Welcome Center and I want a big manufacturer.
What was the first one?
California Welcome Center.
Chamber of Commerce is working on.
But I mean, and like, that's the thing that I really want, I think that's more of a personal. But I think we're walking back.
Actually, if I had to make up something that's not on the list.
No.
Better promotion. Of vehicles. I mean, even with billboards on the highway.
I wanted to get out on Facebook.
Social media.
I want social media, everyone on there, and I want, I have already. I mean, you know what team of guys, there's something a lot of people right, I can do what we can make it right by.
With cooperation with the city, I would like to do a PSA on the radio, with the city of Needle. Public service announcement on the radio. That plays like every hour on the local radio.
No, you need that to run in New York.
Well, it's worldwide, it's on web too.
Ellen, did you get yours on there?
I said,
Person?
Mine are both very on if I could walk in past because I really want that.
Okay, anything you want to add to this?
I want to put the video back in the.
For 6,600 damage.
That's what's happening.
I guess I'm gonna be honest.
Look at the biggest of the
Well, and one of the things that for events that's critical is being able to have hotel space and with the Hampton that provides that opportunity. Plus adding 18 more.
But I do have a question.
Sure.
With all of these events that we're talking about, the Renaissance Festival, Power Man, how do we put this together?
Janet, we can't do everything. But your instance, we need a chamber to get very serious. I mean, a huge part of our community.
Right, because, I mean, and let's just review what a chamber is, because prosperous communities have acted and changed. There needs to be a government organization, a non-governmental organization that is the lead on these activities. Because you would never approve if I put in party plan as a job description. Well,
See our pool, that we live in the hottest city in the country, our pool sucks.
Mm.
It needs to be improved, it needs to be fixed, it needs to be improved. We need to try to figure out ways to fund having it open longer than 2 months. I mean, I realize that's a money issue. I mean, and my phone is being blown up when people were pissed off about the pool being closed on August 1st. I mean, they're really furious. I'm like, we don't have money. I don't know what to tell you.
well, and we have
Become a lifeguard.
a
and
huge
volunteer.
difficulty with lifeguard.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, go be a lifeguard and then show up and volunteer for us, and we can keep it open. But we have to pay 3 people, $50 an hour times 3, to keep that pool open after August 1st. I mean, I get it, but logically, people don't get it. I mean, they can't wrap their head around that we live in Eagles at yesterday was 120 degrees at 5:15. And our pool is closed on August 1st. This is the in the middle of July. It's been 15 days there.
Well, the good news is it's open.
Yeah, but
It's open tomorrow.
It's closed in 15 days.
Uh,
So the hottest month is shut.
Well, that's right on the priority, but, you know, I guess it kind of does. But I want to stay ahead of the game on parks. If we are having, the summer months are coming, our beaches are cleaned up and ready to go. When soccer season starts, you know, a month ahead of time to have it ready. Pool season's opening up, the pool, the grass is done, we're not a million weeds out there. I mean, having kids and every year having to say, hey, there's 1,000 weeds at that pool, can we get in pools and, you know, get splinters in the kids' feet, or hey, it's soccer season, can the parks get cleaned up, or the beach is there. So that we're ahead of the game for every season, next season of the sport. I know we're having another Bob Belt beach is opening up. We're redoing the, finishing up the big walking. There's 2 more parks that we're already behind the 8 ball on all of our parks, and I'd like to get ahead of it. So, when you come through our town, you drive through downtown, I want J Street and L Street, I want fake plants, man. I'm sick of looking at dead plants. Get some fake ones, make those areas nice. So when you go through our town, you're not seeing dead. Now that we have nice off ramps, let's get nice with the parts of the city that you have. So you're not driving through our town and seeing repeat death. Forget, nothing up the water. You can't keep up with the water. Do those fake plants in front of the city, that little bit of rock that we put in, but that just, to me, it looks way better. Just
Oh, I know.
nice, they're, you don't have to worry about, those metal plants are beautiful.
Well,
Get anything that needs water.
and I love Jesse like a brother, but when he came to me with this creative solution on those
Yes,
fake plants, I was like, oh, wait a minute, Jesse, there is
that's what
a.
I thought, man, let's put those on J Street and L Street, so nobody has to go watering.
Yeah.
They're just there, and drive out of our town.
We don't have it next body, they got this plan for the.
Yeah, that's where we got ours. There's a vendor up there.
And you get our sound on,
Makes you wanna pull out.
we get the sound wall coming in on J Street and coming into J Street from the other side, the sound wall, that's gonna be beautiful like the one in Vegas. And the sound wall. I'm gonna push for it.
On the freeway. We also get the freeways that blocks the sound.
It's easy that opens up to change the dynamics of the freeway. So all of us that live on Desmond.
Yeah, well, Who was the congressman? Was it Cook?
Cook was the one that
Yeah, we took.
I took everything to. Overnote you also, but to be fair, we haven't met with him again, so let's keep pushing for it. Every year we get one thing taken off that list. So
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's, just keep pushing. Keep pushing, when they say no, keep pushing more.
We just check off things
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
and that's what we did before, and now we're redoing the rest. We'll check over.
Okay, anybody want to add anything that we didn't?
It's not a high priority necessarily, but Zero Street all city owned land. Zero Street all city owned. Zero Street, take out the lawns.
How are we gonna do with the golf?
Well, except for golf course, the cemetery.
What's the real property being part of?
Rec center.
No, but it's put there.
In the front yard of the.
Oh, in the front yard?
Yes.
At the turkey lawn?
Yeah.
Building like soccer out there. There's a film.
Okay,
And what's the next law, I think it's part of the catching ball down there, I think it's part of the complex down. That's not. Water, that's part of the purpose.
Yeah, and we need the grass at the pool. It's okay.
it's what?
The pool, you have to have grass in front of it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it's nothing that we can like put in our fish, because that stuff gets off.
No, I think we did a lot, I mean, which, no, this is a good one, I mean, I like
Mhm.
not to save water, but I think we did a lot too, but people not there.
Oh, I have a lot of those, I received it. I can't put rocks out there, I like to put rocks.
We have trees and grass, they just go around.
Trees.
Like our farm, yeah, our trees.
We used to have trees on Broadway, we had beautiful trees on Broadway with running here. And we had trash, we had trash cans, I'd like to see trash cans, trash cans. That's my throwing things out there, trash cans, that's a doable one,
Okay,
that'd be easy to check off that one.
anything else anybody want to add?
No, I just think we need to be really more vigilant on, spooky content, the neighborhoods. I walk up there on Park, at the end of Parkway there. There's been an old, stove and a counter that's been there for 6 months, blocking the sidewalk, up there, step out in the street and back up on. the street.
What street?
It's
Parkway,
on Parkway.
You made a note of that, right?
I'm already on it.
Fixing it.
I'm already on it.
Yeah, and
And
that,
there's 2 tow trucks that park on for us. When, the Shell is advertising out there on the freeway, we've got 120 truck spots, they can park out there.
okay. You've given me a lot to work with, so what are the next steps? I will write up all of this. I will do my best to put it into a vision, a mission statement, values, and then goals and priorities. And then I will circulate that to you individually and ask that, did I write it down right? Did I understand what you suggested? And then we will bring it back to the council, and you can solicit public input at a council meeting, and then adopt by resolution. Something akin to what we did in 2015. Good.
Okay. I want to say we all need to do a little bit, it would be possible if we almost all like focused on different aspects of each customer first. So I knew exactly what I needed, but sometimes I look at my email and I'm like, I almost don't even know where to start, and I want to make a difference in what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know, I used to start working on some things and like, but other people are already doing it. So almost if we were delegating a little bit more, or even maybe not just that, maybe we delegated a little bit more. But if we all have something that we all in our areas of expertise, like to focus on, just so we're all, doing everything we could.
Well, let me ask you to do this. Why don't you each identify what your special interests are? And then,
Yeah, but I think to focus it a little bit more, so we all are doing our part, still on the time, obviously, but I mean, if we're able to really focus, that's how we can help make things.
all right, there's something you found already. There's Subway sandwiches there. if you don't want to eat it here, feel free to take it home with you. There's some water. And I guess we didn't even get through one carafe of coffee. I thought you guys would need more, but, yeah, feel free to stick around, but this is the first step in some things, but it will focus the city. Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
I'm stop recording now. Thank you all for attending.